Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Business of Sports, brought to you by Security Financial Bank. I'm going to save the free agency one for the next one. So let's go to the baseball world here, Lucas.
Okay.
Did you see the new ballpark design?
Oh, yes, I did.
Can we call them the Las Vegas A's? If that's going to be, I don't know.
If this happens, which I still think is generally more likely than not to happen. Someone just posted a thread of all of the other ballpark renderings for the A's over the years. There's some old school ones going back like a decade. Like, oh yeah. So let's not exactly, shall we say, start planning which part of the ballpark you're going to be sitting in. Hold off on that, folks. I think there's some more steps involved with this.
So if you haven't seen the renderings, you can, just Google it and that. But they released their vision yesterday of the Las Vegas ballpark, a 33,000 fan capacity stadium design. Features a fixed roof and tiered seating with unobstructed sight lines from every seat. The roof's design features 5 overlapping layers inspired by traditional baseball pennants, with the wall behind the outfield featuring the world's largest cable net glass window facing Tropicana Avenue, Las Vegas Boulevard intersection, with the Strip serving as the backdrop. The windows allow natural lighting inside the stadium while also limiting heat created when there's direct sunlight in the south of the stadium. They're looking at this design.
It's the Sydney Opera House.
A $1.5 billion project.
Yeah.
$1.5 billion project.
Which, okay, we'll see. Maybe this actually does happen.
18,000 square foot Jumbotron, which would be the largest stadium screen in Major League Baseball. The Mets currently have the largest at 17,400.
Wow. Okay, in general architecture,
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, you know me, like uniforms and stadiums, those are my go-to things. So once I saw that, I'm like, ooh, what?
If anybody hasn't seen the Jumbotron, it's not like a straight up and down jumbo. It's like, it almost looks like it's curved because of the pennant, thing there. But it's almost like it's projected on there.
Right. You've never seen anything like that.
Right.
Before, if this holds. The Sydney Opera House thing is definitely that's the analogy a lot of people are saying, and I see that. I know the whole spherical armadillo thing, which someone said, I can't remember who, but actually armadillos are not native to Nevada. But okay, close enough, I guess, sort of, maybe. So this is on where the Trop currently sits, that casino, that'll be demolished. It's not that far from either T-Mobile Arena or Allegiant Stadium, so they're all pretty close. And I guess fans would be pretty close. The 5,000 fans that'll show up for A's games. Gosh, and I'm intrigued by the left field where they're it goes straight out, ground level straight out, as opposed to a big wall there. That looks kind of intriguing. And again, that roof looks it's unique. That's what I want to see in stadium and arena architecture. That's why I like what I said this, what was it, last week? The Intuit Dome, where the Clippers are going to play. I like that because it's tougher to be unique with the basketball arena. They tend to be more function over form. But that one's going to be unique, so good on them.
I like the plaza when you're walking to the stadium with that glass mesh window. Mm-hmm. When you're walking that plaza and you can literally see the whole ballpark as you're walking up to it.
Yes.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
So architecturally speaking, it's really, really neat.
It fits Vegas, doesn't it?
It does. You know what? It would have been campier if it were 20 years ago. I think my understanding is Las Vegas, maybe you've heard the same thing, they're trying to remove a lot of the camp, and they're trying to make it into more of a sleek, this is where all the cool rich people go thing now. So you're going to see less of the touristy sort of stuff, which this kind of matches with that, but it works. I don't. Well, you know what? You could probably put this in almost any city, and it probably could work. But it stands out more in other places, whereas here it's going to meld a little better because it's Vegas. Because in the outfield you have those other casinos as part of the quote-unquote skyline, which you would never have anywhere else. I like the design. Now, will they still make this all happen? I don't know. Will there still be the Oakland A's in 15 years? Maybe. Anything is possible at this point. But if this ends up being the stadium that they finally do design, cool. I would not be surprised, though, if some of the bigger features end up going bye-bye. So basically think of the flashiest stuff that we've just been talking about. So the projected scoreboard, the biggest glass wire mesh, though given that that's been like the biggest talk thus far, I think that probably does survive because you can't make that like the headline of everything and be like, oh, actually we've now changed this. Now it's just going to be like a glass, just a straight up like, I don't know, something where there's like another wall or something. Curious how the air conditioning is going to work in that. They're going to need it. I do kind of fear, though, that it could become a little bit more generic. Like, I don't think it's going to become Camden Yards Park 25 when this is all done. But I wouldn't hold too firm to this design, just the way this whole thing tends to work. But no pun intended, if it's in the ballpark of this design, it's going to be really cool. I also don't think it's opening in 2028. It's gonna probably be more like 29 or 30.
I've never been to Vegas, so I haven't been to the Strip, but I just think it's still kind of weird to see in left center field the Statue of Liberty right there. So it's just, I get it, I understand it, I know what it is in that. It just still is kind of weird to me to see that
right
in the skyline right behind left center field is the Statue of Liberty. So, yeah.
See, those are the things that I think maybe in 15, 20 years those get demolished and get replaced by something more generic. As Vegas again de-emphasizes, was it? Because I think I heard like the Luxor, that's the pyramid, right?
Yeah,
I think I heard that there are plans to demolish that.
Yeah,
because again, too kitschy. In different levels of kitsch. Like, we're not talking like 50s kitsch. We're talking like the 90s era kitsch that came in.
I think there's an interesting note here, too, that I was reading that we mentioned the project's coming in at $1.5 billion, according to this write-up, which is an important number because Fisher, the owner, is on the hook for the cost overruns. And as some saying, they don't see this coming in under $1.5 billion.
No way.
So he's on the hook for that. But as many have also noted, he's also in charge of pumping money into the roster ahead of the team's rival in Vegas, which we know that's how that's gone over the years, too.
Right.
So,
this gets to part of the existential question with all of this. It's like, yeah, look at all of we're going to be having constant sellouts and all these tourists are going to be coming in. Really? So you mean the A's are going to turn into some combination of the Bash Brothers and the early 70s Dynasty and Moneyball and all of that, and they're going to be winning 110 games every season with like 4 MVPs and really? That's all going to sure. Yeah. That's why I joke about 5,000 fans when the A's suck again. I mean, there are plenty of reasons to go to Vegas. Like you, I've never been there. I don't know if I ever will. Maybe. This seems okay. I'm going to use another pun. A house of cards, a little bit. Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know, as in terms of you don't know if it's going to get done. Or?
The whole concept. Okay, as is, this is going to get modified. There's a better than even chance they're going to Las Vegas. But this is not the sure thing that we thought like several months ago when all the owners approved it. I think they were like, well, based on what we know, okay, sure. But I think they'd also all retract it. Plus, if you ask most owners, I do think if you asked them, would you rather the A's stay in Oakland with a different owner and build their own stadium there versus going to Las Vegas, they'd take that over this. Because they don't want to have to spend money going to a much smaller market and revenue share that way. They'd rather stay in the Bay Area if there were a viable option. In my opinion, they would rather do that. And they also probably are sick of John Fisher. You can't stand the dude. He's not exactly the most popular owner around.
Right.
So that's why when I think it was an Athletic, or maybe it was Jeff Passan. Someone said one of the bigger articles said it's probably about a 60% chance, maybe it was Front Office Sports, maybe about a 60% chance this whole thing happens. That's not great odds.
No.
And that's like talking to people who know say that.
Right.
So, yeah, like, okay, cool if the stadium gets built that way. Let's see if it actually happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. And it's not anytime soon, like you said. They're saying 2028, but
minimum.
Because they still got to, I mean, they're talking 2025 to start tearing down, was it the Rat Pack area, Plaza stuff and all that?
That area, the Trop, that's supposed to happen in like weeks.
Yeah.
I think like April it's supposed to happen.
Okay.
So
no, they were starting to break ground in 2025, supposedly.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Mm-hmm. So there are other things that are going to happen here, but wake me when it actually is under construction. Mm-hmm. And then at that point we'll have a completion date, but once that starts, cool.
Right.
I want to see shovels on the ground.
Mm-hmm. All right. There you have it. This is your Business of Sports, brought to you by Security Financial Bank.